Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of CCW Insider. This time I am joined by one member of the CCW correspondence team, my broadcast partner, Johnny B. Evans, the voice of CCW. I see that trophy back there, Johnny.
Oh, you do see that trophy, huh, Tyler? Thank you so much for that intro, my friend. And thank you for having me along on this one, huh?
Of course. No, you're always interacting in the chat. We've had to get you in here. Axel and Lizzie cannot be here. Axel might join us later on if he'll be able to. But yeah, we don't got the usual crew. But Johnny, hey, you're always part of the broadcast crew, and it's always great to see you and have you here.
Hey, man. And thank you. And it's great to be a part of a great team of such great hosts and voices as well, along with you, Axel, and Lizzie, my friend. I'm not the voice. We are many voices.
Of course. Look at this.
And that trophy could be on one of your shelves this year. I could definitely see that on one of your shelves this year.
Look, we got Paul here, CCW. Joyum. Bonjour to you and everybody. Bonjour. Hey, we got some French in here. But the last territory been on such a roll. We had such a big month last month in June. Big shows. Look at this, putting us over big time, Tyler and Johnny Mega Powers. I wouldn't go that far, Mega Powers. But no, it's such a big
I don't know,
month
Tyler.
in June.
I'm feeling it. No, all right.
And just incredible. We got to see so many different matches, so many different shows, and it's just we keep moving on, and we're just getting bigger and better. We have so many Saturdays with shows. This weekends are going to be packed, Johnny. But
I think every single one through the rest of the year, except for maybe just one.
Yeah, I mean,
every weekend we'll be running these.
It's hard to find a breather when it comes to last territory, and we wouldn't want it any other way. Look at this. We got Pollo Del Mar in the chat, clapping it up. We got Nelio, the CEO of CCW. Who the hell let Johnny be good on Insider? He just
a great question, boss man.
He finds his way. And but July is going to be, again, just another huge month. We're going to keep that
favorite
going.
Pinch hitter, my friend.
Paul DeMar says CCW is terrified to have me return. They know I will take over. That's for sure. No, Paul Del Mar, always dangerous, especially with the Night Riders.
I believe them.
And speaking of the Night Riders, we're going to see them in action this Saturday because, like how I've been trying to get to, it's the first Saturday of the month. It is Bash at the Brew week. It doesn't get bigger for the last territory than Bash at the Brew. And Bash at the Brew 42 is, man, I don't know. That card, Johnny, it looks bigger than ever.
It is unbelievably stacked, Tyler. And I mean, we're already going through this natural heat wave, and now we're just throwing even more of this hotness onto South Florida by having this big show one more time down in Hialeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just match after match. Nelly was saying Pollo Del Mar as soon as possible. Pollo Del Mar's going back and forth in the chat. We already got craziness going here, Johnny.
Begin.
Look at this. Pollo Del Mar dropping Bill Alfonso 1997 Manager of the Year, but I'm ranked in the top 10 right now. Man, Pollo's giving Bill Alfonso
a shot. They know Fonzie's coming back, brother. That's right.
So right now,
the crown, Tyler. And
before we get to the breakdown, let's got to kick it to that intro.
Yeah.
So coming off the heels from June, we had big Game of War. We had Bash at the Brew 41, just two of the biggest shows that we had in June. And now we're coming back with Bash at the Brew 42. And man, look who's right there, front and center. Gangrel is going to be here at Bash at the Brew 42. He will be in the main event. He will be in that main event, Johnny. And we'll break that down towards the end. But man, I mean, you look at some of those faces on those posters. You got new faces. You got legends like Gangrel. You got the foundations of the last territory. This card is just going to be unbelievable. And let's just jump right into it. Let's start with this. You want to talk about big time singles match? We mentioned Bill Alfonso. I don't know if he's going to be back. If he will be back, the poster says it. Ariel Levy with Bill Alfonso in his corner taking on Stallion Rogers. Man, these two went to war at Game of War, but finally now going to see them in a singles match. Levy, the Chilean superstar, a guy that when you think of CCW, you have to think of Ariel Levy, former tag team champion, former heavyweight champion. But now you got Stallion Rogers on the rise, who it looks like he is chopping everybody in sight. He has absolutely been unstoppable when it comes to singles competition. Johnny, what do you think about this huge singles match?
I mean, you're right. Like you mentioned, hopefully we see Fonzie there. It'd be great to have his presence back. You know, card always subject to change, but he's there.
Yeah.
He's there on the card.
Cards,
let's see what happens.
Card subject
brother.
to change. But look at this.
Like you mentioned, my friend. Oh, hey.
It's Vinicius stepping
boss
in.
man spoiling a big surprise. Apparently, Vinicius might be stepping in. Here we go. But hey, maybe Fonzie will still be there with the big Brazilian destroyer, huh? But like you said, this is some fallout from the big Game of War. And these guys were both on the opposing teams fighting with each other like unbelievably here. And who knows? Do you think he's going to get the chops that he deserves from Stallion Rogers?
I don't know. Well, it looks
this
like
is going to be one of the hardest hitting matches. If it's Vinicius or Ariel Levy, it is going to be one of the hardest hitting matches that they've ever had.
It is. I mean, now you got Stallion Rogers and the Brazilian Destroyer Vinicius in there. I mean, Brazilian Destroyer absolutely outweighing Stallion Rogers, but that's never stopped Stallion before. Stallion's so experienced, has done this at so many levels, has done it in Japan. Will he be able to chop down the big Brazilian Destroyer? Or once Vinicius grabs a hold of you, it's almost game over. But we never know. I mean, Vinicius might fly like he did at Bash of the Brew 41. We saw that. I mean, this is just like Nelly said right here. It's just screwing up the whole program. I mean, you want to talk about throwing a monkey wrench into things. The Brazilian Destroyer against Stallion Rogers. Look, Nelly wants to book it for Power Slap.
Man, all right. Game on for Power Slap. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Stallion Rogers has some nasty chops, but when you're dealing with the massive of humanity in Vinicius, and Vinicius, like you said, this is the fallout from Game of War. So this is a pissed off Brazilian Destroyer. I'm sure he still has not forgotten everything that Stallion Rogers has put him through, and we're gonna have to see because that's gonna be a banger. Who do you got into that one now? Now that it's switched from Levy to Vinicius that quick.
I mean, you can never count the South American Alliance out of anything. I know Stallion's going into this with a big chip on his shoulder, but if he's got that monster, I'm kind of got my money on Vinicius on this one.
It's hard to bet against a Brazilian Destroyer, but let's go into this next match.
Yes.
Carolina Cruz versus Mila Moore. Carolina Cruz making her CCW debut. If you're familiar with WWE Next Gen, she was highlighted there. She is a former WWE superstar coming to now the last territory to test herself against Mila Moore. And man, Mila Moore has a mean streak. I mean, she comes out there in the bunny ears, but she is no bunny. She is quite the opposite. No. She always is looking for a fight. I mean, we've seen her just go after girls backstage, does not care whatsoever. And she has not only the experience edge here, but she also has wins here in the last territory. This is going to be a tough one for Carolina Cruz, Johnny. How do you think she gets it done if she can get it done?
I mean, yeah, you can't look past the bunny. Like you say, she's not some fuzzy little creature. She's a ferocious little animal, man. And she's looking to hop that line right back to the title picture. So just because this is a former WWE superstar, she's not going to let that scare her. But that being said, she's got a huge challenge ahead of her with Ms. Cruz.
No, absolutely. Carolina Cruz, absolute animal in the gym. I mean, she is just a natural born athlete. She is going to have the hometown advantage. She is a Miami girl, born and raised. She is coming back home. She is going to be there in Hialeah, the hottest crowd in South Florida. Hell, might be in all of Florida. I'll say it. It's my hometown, so I'll say it. The 305, Hialeah brings it. The hottest crowd in all of Florida. She's going to be there in her hometown with her family watching, friends cheering her on. I mean, I think Carolina Cruz called it upset. I think she gets the win here over Mila Moore. And I think Carolina Cruz is going to really shake up the women's division in the last territory.
Yeah, that's a great call, man. I mean, it's a tough one again. But like you said, she's coming in with this hot momentum. It's her debut here in CCW in her hometown. That carries a lot on you. So she's going to overcome that pressure, I think. And yeah, you might be right. I think she's going to stand tall here because she's got a lot more to do here in CCW.
Let's just hope Mila Moore's not watching this because she's not going to be happy about that prediction. I don't know if you've seen that video she put out with Cam Stewart. She's not happy with Cam Stewart. She's not happy with anybody. She's living in her own reality TV show.
She wasn't happy with me the last time she saw me either, so I'm pretty sure I didn't do any more damage.
So we will have to see with that one. And then this loaded card just keeps coming out with Boehner after Boehner, because look at this three-way match. You got the Cruisermeister, Ozzy Killmeister, putting up that CCW Cruiserweight Championship against Alan S2S Martinez and Chris Pharaoh, the two cornerstones of that Cruiserweight division here in the last territory. Two guys that really built up this Cruiserweight division to what it is now. And you got Chris Pharaoh, the first ever two-time CCW Cruiserweight champion. He could make it 3-time. Or S2S on the other side. He could tie Chris Pharaoh becoming that two-time champion. And you know, Chris Pharaoh and S2S will always have this rivalry. So you know in the back of S2S's head, he wants that two-time to be right there where Pharaoh is. But then in the middle of it all, you got the Cruisermeister who wants to set his own path here in the last territory. He wants that Cruiserweight Championship reign to be as legendary as the reigns of S2S, as the reigns of Pharaoh, and he has to get through both of them at Bash at the Brew. And, you know, if you're a betting man, the odds are not in Ozzy's favor.
Well, little bit of Johnny B history here. I've been a part of the family now going on about 4 years. I started out as a fan. I recall seeing one young Tyler out in the crowd there at some point as well a few times. But when I first joined in and started going to CCW shows, the champion was Chris Pharaoh. And I remember watching that saga as a fan and now being able to sit here, call it. And this rivalry, the way that it's grown, I don't know if you saw what S2S said online earlier, but he's right. He had one of the longer reigns with the Cruiserweight title, and he and Chris Pharaoh are very much pillars of the Cruiserweight division. So no matter how many times he cracks his head open or how fly Chris Pharaoh can fly, they can't look past the metal man that is Ozzy Killmeister, because he's been proving time and time again. I mean, getting down to a very metal 198 just to be the Cruisermeister. And I think they're not looking past him, but they might not be thinking about it as much because, like you mentioned, their rivalry is so intense and so deep over these years that they might be too focused on each other. And that's where Ozzy could really show them what kind of champion he is.
Very well could be. Look at this. We got a comment here. Ozzy had a good run, but Pollo Del Mar disagreeing, saying the Cruisermeister retains. You know, Pollo in the chat talking about Stallion Rogers. She's got her eye on Stallion. Maybe she got her eye on the Cruisermeister. And look at this.
Maybe.
More fans. We're getting back and forth. Do not discredit Ozzy. He is one to adapt to their opponents. He can step up if the ladder gets higher. And yeah, I mean, Ozzy right now, whatever CCW management has thrown at him, whether it be back-to-back matches, he finds a way, Johnny. He just gets it done. No matter what, tag team matches, singles matches, he finds a way. The Cruisermeister has been on a roll. He's in the best shape in years we've seen him in. He's taking this so seriously. He loves this sport so much. I mean, he lives and breathes the last territory. Like, I don't think he's missed a show. I could be wrong. Maybe he's missed 1 or 2, but I mean, it feels like he is at every single show, whether it's Tampa or Homestead. The Cruisermeister gets it done. But man, you got S2S, who is on a roll right now because he's coming off this huge Game of War victory. You got Chris Pharaoh, who just went to war with Chacha Charlie, one of the best heavyweights, the face of the franchise. I mean, took Chacha to his limits. It feels like all three of these guys are on the ups. And now you got the best three cruiserweights. Some could argue the best three wrestlers in the last territory right now about to go battle at Bash at the Brew. And it's just one you cannot miss. I mean, this match is going to be insane.
It's true.
It will be honor if I'm on commentary for it. I hope I am. And I just cannot wait for it. And here we go, Pollo Del Mar saying the Cruisermeister is hungry. Literally, he's starving to compete in that category.
He sure is. He sure is. Plenty thirsty.
Do you know how hard?
Death.
And Pollo Del Mar, do you know how hard it is to refrain from post-event munchies to keep that Cruisermeister body? That's a word right there.
Yeah,
that's
and
a word.
I kind of do, Pollo.
I mean, such a big three-way match for that Cruiserweight Championship. But we got to go to the next match, which is right here. Chacha Charlie versus Danny Briggs. Another huge singles match. Another one of these fallouts from Game of War. But it goes even past Game of War with these two. Danny Briggs cost Chacha Charlie that match against Stallion Rogers. And Chacha has been wanting Danny Briggs badly, and now they finally get this singles match, and Danny Briggs is happy with this because he says there's no stipulations to it. It's a straight up wrestling match, and Danny Briggs says in a straight up wrestling match nobody can beat him. I don't know, Johnny, he's going against the face of the franchise. These two are going to collide. Who do you think is going to end up on top?
This is another one, a big fallout from the Game of War, and franchise, you can never count him out of anything, but Danny Briggs has this kind of fire under him. I saw this promo, and I won't repeat what he said at the end of it. God forbid I get bleeped here live, but he is ready for this match, and I don't think I've seen him as angry and focused on a single wrestling match. Now, he's been known to bend some rules here, so he seems to be a little bit excited that there are some, but I think he is one of the better wrestlers that I have had the pleasure of watching over these last few years. And Chacha is really going to have to dig deep. He's not just going to have to coast by on his dancing and his good smile. He's going to have to really pull down like with the steel cage matches and just go for it. And honestly, I think Danny could pull this one out, but it's hard to bet against the franchise, to be honest with you.
It really is. Chacha, especially when he gets involved in these rivalry matches, he takes it personal. It's just not business to him. When you go out there and you cost him a match against Stallion Rogers, when you're antagonizing him this whole time, when you're talking trash to his fans, throwing beer at the fans, I mean, Chacha takes it personal, and he will do whatever he can to get the win. But man, Danny Briggs is one of those guys you do not want to get into a bar fight with. If you walk into a bar, Danny Briggs is sitting there at the bar. Avoid. He is one of the toughest people we have seen walk through the last territory. And, I just cannot wait for it. And Johnny, before we go through the rest of this card, we got to get that commercial break in.
Attention wrestling fans, the place to be each and every Tuesday is on the Coastal Championship Wrestling YouTube channel, where a new episode of CCW Alive Wrestling drops at 7 p.m. Witness the hard-hitting, high-flying action that is synonymous with the longest-running independent wrestling promotion in the southeastern United States. Subscribe today, and don't you dare miss it.
That's right. Make sure you've got your alerts on because, hey, sometimes we drop bonus ones as well here and there.
All the time we're dropping bonus matches all the time. But, every Tuesday at 7, you can catch Alive Wrestling, and we have been on a roll. If you did not see the last episode of Alive, you got to see it. An over 30-minute, most insane tag team match. The Advantage match before Game of War just got uploaded, and it is insane. It lives up.
Just straight up fight. It was brutal.
And, I mean, just anything went.
Oh, yeah, you were ringside for that one.
Oh yeah, it was insane. I was losing my voice during that one. It was absolutely crazy. And Bash at the Brew 42. It's going to
I
follow in
finally
the
took my
footsteps.
jackets in for a dry clean. Sorry,
That's
I know
good,
there's a bit of
Johnny.
a delay. Sorry, but I took my jackets in for a bit of a dry clean here, and the lady looked at me and pulled a piece of wood splinter out. It was just like, oh, it's just a table. It was nothing.
Yeah, it's just CCW. You know, it's just another Saturday.
It is, just another Saturday, my friends.
Look at this. See, another part of the CCW family, Sergio, saying more airtime for Pollo. Now look at this. Tabby Watts. We need
Sounds
more
like a
Pollo
guest,
Del
yeah.
Mar. Like everybody is pulling for
People want
Pollo.
Pollo.
Ratings would surge if they had me every week. It's ridiculous to keep me off your TV. You know what? We gotta get Pollo onto Insider. We gotta make this happen. I gotta talk to Pollo's people somehow, pull some strings.
You're
Hopefully,
right,
Pollo is a very busy person.
Man.
Like this
You
Pollo
pulled me
saying when
on here
Eddie
without the
Valentine,
CCW office knowing. So if anyone can do it, brother, it's you.
when Eddie Valentine and I are on, people have to take their underwear to be dry cleaned. Lord, okay. Pollo Del Mar.
Very different wood we're talking
draw.
about, Pollo.
Oh no, we just make them soil themselves. They are Pollo Del Mar and the Night Riders are very scary. I had the privilege of calling their matches ringside, and Pollo Del Mar just screams at me, and I don't even know what to do. One time, Pollo Del Mar screamed at me to ring the bell, and I just rang the bell. The referee didn't tell me, Pollo did, and you do not want to be on Pollo's bad side. I listen when Pollo makes a command. All right, where are we at on this card? We got craziness, but we got Pollo Del Mar fans just flooding the chat. Pollo Del Mar has taken over this show.
No, Pollo mentioned Eddie. I think that's a good jump off point there.
Look at this. Hold on. Scary. We're just so sexy. They soil themselves. Goodness gracious.
Not even sure how that would. Yeah. All right. I'm not sure how that works, but dang.
Yeah. Nonetheless, we got to go to this stacked Bash of the Brew card. I keep getting distracted with Pollo. That just shows how much drawing power Pollo Del Mar has. But Bash of the Brew 42 has another women's match. Shelly Benson versus Nikki Blackheart. Nikki Blackheart making her only third match debut in general in wrestling. This is her third wrestling match, and it is at the biggest show in the last territory, Bash of the Brew 42. All the eyes are on this one. They are on Nikki Blackheart. And Shelly Benson, though, has the experience advantage. She's been in the last territory, has picked up a win here and there, and she is a solid opponent to go against Nikki Blackheart, and one that could pull up an upset on Nikki. Does she do it, though, Johnny?
Honestly, no. Nikki here is on a powerful little roll here, and Shelly, she's been around. We've seen her perform here at Bash a few times, and she's been fantastic. I think she had a nice little feud with the Bunny as well, since we brought her up earlier. But Nikki just made her debut 2 weeks ago, 2 shows back to back with dominating victories, and she's got this poise and this presence, and she is not ready to mess around here. Where Shelly, I've at least from some of the matches I've seen with us in CCW, she can tend to be a bit more of a fan giver. She'll not take her eye off the ball once in a while to do a little shake and a twirl. And while we do appreciate it, Nikki will not, and she will make her pay for it.
Oh yeah, when you're in there with Nikki Blackheart, you do not take your eye off the ball at all. You have to, just look at it. Her presence alone tells you how much of a threat she is. Seeing her first 2 matches, she just runs through her opponent's offense. It doesn't even phase her. And then when she hits that Blackheart bomb, it is over. It's a 1, 2, 3, and it is nasty. And if Shelly Benson is not careful, Nikki Blackheart can get it done quick.
Yeah. So yeah, if I were betting, man, I'm betting on Nikki Blackheart for this one.
The fans excited for this one. Shelly and Nikki, what a beautiful and exciting match. Absolutely. It's just, like I said, you get to see new faces on this Bash of the Brew card. You get to see the foundations of CCW, and you get to see championship matches, because right here, we got the CCW Tag Team Championships on the line as the Crown taking on the Knight Riders. This will be the Knight Riders' third opportunity at the Crown for those tag team championships. These guys a couple months ago had a crazy rivalry. And I mean, they pushed the Crown to their limits. Maybe the Knight Riders, you could say, besides right there between South American Alliance, pushed the Crown to their limits more than any other team has. But here we go. The Knight Riders have been on a roll, picking up wins. They get their third opportunity at these tag team titles. But there's more to this one, right? The Crown, they do not like losing. They lost at Game of War, and they are pissed off. The Crown doesn't do that. Losing is not in their vocabulary. Then you got the Knight Riders, who had a little bit of miscommunication as of late, you can call it, when Joe Garcia won that Soul Survivor match, tricking Eddie, using Eddie's own tricks against him, getting that win. And then we saw it at Bash of the Brew 40 when Madman Fulton, the main event monster Fulton, got the big win over Eddie because Joe Garcia and Eddie had that miscommunication. So it's been a little bit rough between those two. They say it's paved over. Everything is good. But I don't know, Johnny. What do you think? You got to be on the same page if you're going up against the Crown.
You do. I mean, they've had an all-out war with the Crown at least 2 or 3 times now. And like you said, this is the third time. And like people say, third time could be the charm here. But the Crown are not happy. After the Game of War, they may not have been who lost the match, but as a team, you lose. And that just does not gel with these kings of the fifth dimension, my friend. We're all awake right now. They don't know how to say anything. We are all wide awake and watching our backs because they are that scary when they are angry. But you're also correct. Eddie was proud of Joe. He's like, hey, you're fine. You're learning the way I do the game. This is great at Soul Survivor. But it seems like something else didn't gel after this. And unless they can get on the same page, I watched them training a little earlier today. They look pretty synced up, and that gets your cardio and your blood pumping when you're boxing like that. It's a good training session. Really helps you bond and get them together. But I mean, if they can't get on the same page, I don't think there's any way they can do this. So they really need to work through whatever mental block's been keeping them from gelling the way they have over these last, I think, like year and a half. They've been a tag team, almost 2 years. And get on that page. Otherwise, all we're going to hear is, and still. One more time.
To that point, Johnny, Pollo Del Mar here in the chat. This is a conspiracy. I should be leading them to
that could be
victory.
A very good point. Yeah.
That it's a great point, especially with these two maybe not being on the same page. Pollo Del Mar, when she's out there, she gets these two on the same page. She gets them on point. So if Pollo Del Mar is not out there, I mean, it might be a tough night.
Maybe they are missing that third voice. Yeah.
It's going to be a tough night for the Knight Riders if they cannot get on the same page. But let me tell you, when they are on it, man, we see it week after week, show after show. Knight Riders get the win. Knight Riders get the win. Whatever they do, hate them or love them, they find a way to get a win in that match and get their arms raised. And Joe Garcia just looks like he gets better and better. So the Crown, they're on top. And, the Knight Riders, they've been scratching, they've been itching. This is their third time. They could knock them off.
And clawing.
And with that, Johnny,
they could.
Any one of these matches we're talking about could main event a show, but not Bash at the Brew 42, because this is your main event. Gangrel and Domino will be taking on the 5-star era in the Hialeah street fight. There's so many moving parts here, so many different stories going into this. Let's start with this one. Let's get the basics out of the way. First things first, this is actually a rematch. We've seen these two teams go to battle at Rumble in the Jungle 2, where Domino and Gangrel, through thick and thin, got the win. Through a hard-fought battle, they got the win against the 5-star era. But that didn't stop Ricky and ERA from keep on going after Domino and keep excelling this rivalry to the point of attacking Domino's parents, to assaulting Domino on his birthday, pouring hot coffee on him. This has completely boiled over, and the only way this could get settled is by Domino giving his mentor, his trainer, a call, the Vampire Warrior Gangrel, and saying, let's finish it in Hialeah. Let's do a street fight. Let's put everything on the table. Johnny, what do you got to say about this one?
Jeez. The blood and the cafecito might be flying, my friend. This one is going to be nothing short of wild. I mean, people seem to think it's the old ECW when Ricky and ERA are out there these days, and we better get some extra brooms handy. I'm really hoping we can avoid that this time. But man, I think 3 bashes in a row. I've seen stuff thrown in the ring, and I haven't seen that in the last 3-4 years I've been here. Now, Domino's dipping into something, because when these guys just keep hounding you like this, that brings something out in you, and there's no better person to help him channel that than the Vampire Warrior. And the 5-star era, they may have bitten off more than they can chew here. They're nothing against them, but Domino has stepped out into this ring and proven time and time again, when you really back him, and much less his family in a corner, the domination rises to the occasion. So I got to put my money on the student-teacher street fight aficionados here. Gangrel and Domino, making Hialeah proud.
And it's smart money to do that. But let's not forget the fact that 5-star era is probably more in a deep, dark, and dangerous place than we've ever seen them. The things they have done to Domino, and really how they have betrayed everybody, including the South Florida audience, betraying the whole locker room. I mean, really just going out there and just thinking about themselves is a really scary thought. Now thinking they're going to be in this street fight and they will have everything legal. They could do anything they want to the Vampire Warrior and Domino. But on the flip side of that, speaking of deep, dark places, they have also pushed Domino into this almost this domino effect, if you will, this real dark side of Domino that, I mean, that video he put out was just absolutely terrifying. It's like, what is Domino going to go out here and do? Saying he's going to revisit his past? I mean, I have no idea what that means, but it doesn't look good if you're Ricky or ERA.
I don't know much about the past he's referring to, but as someone who, I've seen Domino probably smile more than me around these places. And, he's a very humble guy. And to see this coming out of him, it's something. I didn't think that. You never know. When push comes to shove, you never know just how dark you can get.
Yeah, it really just goes to show how much they have pushed him. And then let's not count out Gangrel. I mean, his name speaks for himself. He's a damn legend of the sport. But I mean, he's there every week in the CCW training facility, teaching these guys, getting these guys better. Domino, one of his star students. I mean, he's bonded a real close connection. Domino, they work out together. They go to events together. They do charities together. And really, Gangrel, seeing what they've done to Domino, has just put a horrible taste in his mouth, where he needed to step in at Rumble in the Jungle 2, and now he needs to step in here. And I think the Vampire Warrior, man, we're talking about deep, dark places. It doesn't get darker than the Vampire Warrior. He knows how to tap into that energy. So I think you're getting these 4 guys who are just in these horrible, evil places right now and just want to do horrible things to each other. And it's just going to be a blast for Hialeah to see these guys destroy each other. And who knows how Hialeah is going to react if 5-star era walks out of here victorious. We might have a damn riot on our hands.
We definitely won't have enough rooms for that.
Yeah, definitely not. This Bash at the Brew is one
you cannot full on
miss.
Riots in the streets. You're right.
Yeah, no, you cannot miss this one. Standing room only already. You have to get your tickets. They're selling out quick. Don't even think about getting front row. You better get Bash at the Brew 43 front row right now. But you can still get your general admission tickets at ccwrestlingfl.com, because we're the last territory and we're hotter than ever. And you just look at this Bash at the Brew 42 and the quality of cards and all of our roster just growing and getting better and better. It's just unbelievable to see where we're at and how we just keep on going. I actually want to highlight a comment here July 12th coming up so fast. That's a great segue because, yes, once Bachelor Brew is done and, the flame has settled, we got to get ready for next week, our double header up north. Friday, July 12th, we got Concord Kissimmee 25. And then Saturday, July 13th, we got Havoc and Hayes 4 in Tampa. And it just keeps on going. And we will break down those 2 cards and all the rest of the cards every week right here at CCW Insider every Wednesday. You have to tune in. You have to keep up with Alive. Of course, follow us on all our socials, the X, Instagram, anything you can think of, Facebook. You got to follow us on there. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And Johnny, it has been a blast breaking down this card with you. We got to get you on the show more. And why don't you just
I'll try to free up some more Wednesdays.
Yeah, free them up and send us on out, Johnny.
Thank you, CCW. This has been Johnny Be Good Evans, reminding you guys to be good. We will see you on Saturday at Bash at the Brew. Thank you for having me, Tyler.
No problem. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you later, fans.
You have been watching CCW Insider, produced by Minutes to Bell Time in association with Coastal Champions.